not a good concept. If I do the state building in Afghanistan or somewhere else, that's not the way to go, because you have the existing established institution, the Ministry of Justice, the Office of the Attorney General in place. You come up and create a small commission, high-paid legal experts. The whole bureaucracy in that big system, they work against these guys who are part of the Judicial Commission. And the Judicial Commission, knowing this is a temporary assignment, they're not going to move things very hard because they are looking also for a future for themselves, to be in a constitutional court or the Supreme Court or somewhere else. So the way that should have been done it from the very beginning, you have to invest and reform the existing institution, not create parallel structures. So that's why we are lagging behind on that. Equally important is I was graduated from law school in Kabul, and when I was in Kabul working for the Office of the President, I went back and also teaching at the university, Kabul University. Just the level of knowledge of the students, you couldn't compare it. When I was a student in Kabul University, we had professors teaching in French, and we were able to understand and absorb that. And there was that capacity and things. And the curriculum was not very different from curriculum in a good university in Europe, but now it's very low. And you cannot improve that law school unless you improve the school. And you cannot, if you don't have a good law school, you cannot produce a good judge. You cannot bring, cannot import judges. You can bring soldiers, but you cannot bring judges or prosecutors. So this has to be built nationally and locally. And the issue of corruption, it's lack of capacity. It's low payment. Low payment. When you pay someone $40 as a police officer, I'm not saying that he will become corrupt because he's not paid enough. No. If you're an ethical person, doesn't matter how much you pay, then you're not going to be corrupt. But if you pay $40 to a police officer to fight Al-Qaeda, to fight narco-traffickers and warlords and the like, this guy must be crazy to enlist for this job, unless he has an ill attention. You will tell you, why should I become an interpreter for CNN, or why should I work for an NGO in Kabul, hang out with foreigners, learn some English, and be in Kabul, and get paid at least $500, and then instead take that tough job of $40 and go to Orazgan and fight the Taliban. So when you don't pay adequately, you're not able to recruit qualified people. You should pay it better. Civil servants are paid average of $40 to $60. So it's very hard to recruit qualified people when you pay is that low. Salary should be improved. What makes a problem of corruption even worse in Afghanistan is also the infusion of the money coming from narcotics. While there was some corruption of taking a bribe of $5 to get a signature, this is probably going to be around in many developing countries for many years. But when there's a corruption of $100,000, this is unheard of. This kind of money doesn't exist in the village, or this is where you see the corrupting influence of narcotics.
Stan Byers with the Global Fairness Initiative. Arguably the key to really regaining stability in the country, dealing with the opium problem, the lacking the hold of the Taliban in certain areas, and increasing revenues for the government so it can provide more services, is increasing the economy and generating jobs. What is the government's current plan on building the economy, and what do you see as areas of greatest potential for that area?
The Constitution of Afghanistan clearly indicates that free market economy is the basis of building Afghanistan. The government is trying to extract itself from all these state enterprises, and the way there was this, much more or less the Soviet system, that the government has its hand in everything, and everything doesn't function because the government has its hand. So we are trying to extract ourselves and let the private sector take the lead in the economic growth. But keep in mind that the private sector needs an environment to grow in it, an environment to operate in it. That environment includes actually legal assurances that you've been working. We have adopted a series of law on that. That's why we adopted a new banking law, and 30 banks were established right away. This is the legal infrastructure is being put in place, but more importantly is also the physical infrastructure, the roads, the energy. And it's hard to convince someone to put up a textile factory in Afghanistan if he has to run the factory on a generator. You're not going to be able to compete with China or someone else. It's going to be way too. So you have to build the infrastructure for them to be able to operate.
2002, I noticed two horrendous challenges develop, and they seem to have been overcome. And I want to ask you about them. One was a landmine situation. You have no idea, you could do nothing in 2002 because of landmines. Even in the American Embassy compound, you had to walk on the paved walkway. There was a danger if you walked on the grass, the mine might explode. The other challenge was so many Afghans weren't in Afghanistan. More so than the Afghans in Europe and the States, you had, by American, a humongous amount of Afghans in Pakistan and Iran. How have these two challenges been addressed? Okay, the third challenge too is you have to have a banking system.
Yeah, that's true.
You have to bring cash. Everything was cash. If the American reporter was going to Afghanistan, he had to have $3,000 cash. That's all, because only dollars were recognized. So I think it helps to understand what the ambassador is talking about, to realize they started from -0, right? The situation was really bad. But I'm interested about landmines and by refugees.
Thank you very much. Bill Royce is truly an expert on the region and the area. He's been a veteran reporter for Voice of America, know Afghanistan, Iran, and the region very well. And thank you very much for coming here. I appreciate that. Landmine is, Mr. Royce have indicated, right after the establishment of the new government, the statistics indicated that there were 8 either mines or armed exploded ordnance for each Afghan in the country, just in case one of them missed. So today still 60 people are losing either life or a limb in a month in Afghanistan to landmine.